How is a sister meant to find a spouse if they stay at home?
Questions from the UK. How is a sister, how can she find a spouse if she has to stay home? Like we mentioned before, with regards to the modern world today, and this perhaps to be the last question that we'll take today, is that we have to understand something, guys. And that is the rulings of Islam are of two types. The first type are the rulings which are based off of direct text. Direct text. Clear text. And even in that issue, there are different understandings of those texts, of those hadiths. And then there are other issues which are based off of ijtihad. And it's oftentimes, as we've mentioned before, ijtihad is influenced by culture. We said this. Ijtihad is influenced by what? By culture. There's no doubt about that. Ijtihad can be affected by race. There are fatwa of some ulama who tried their best based off of race, based off of the cultural norm. Things are not like how they are now back then in Medina. Imam Malik said this woman needs a wali, and another type of woman what? Doesn't need a wali. It's a reality. Race is a major part of life. Status is a major part of what? Of life. Class, all right? Caste system, all right? So the bottom line is there are certain rulings which are only based off of ijtihad, and there are different influences on that what? Ijtihad. So, if there is a rule that's based off of the direct Quran and Sunnah with regards to a woman doing something to get married, can and cannot, then the same applies in 2019. And if that ruling is not based off of the direct text, but it's a bit of ijtihad and culture and this and that, in 2019, then we say there's what? Flexibility. And the last thing I want to say is that many of the old traditional rulings and ways which were not based off of direct text have become obsolete. And many of those old ways have failed. And from that is people getting married. You can't get married unless you do this. Your mother has to approve first. The father, they have to go for a walk. They sit over tea and coffee. You ask the uncle first. That's not based off of what? Direct text of Kitab and Sunnah. It's not based off of direct text. It's ijtihad and that's a bit of culture. And if it still works today, then alhamdulillah. And if it doesn't work, and there's so many Muslim youths who cannot get married, cannot find a successful marriage, then that stuff is now what? Obsolete. And something else needs to be done. If that's the internet, if that's matrimony, if it's just say WhatsApp, or sister going to college and saying whatever that way is, then you have to do it because it isn't haram because of direct what? Text. It is not makruh because of what? Direct text. Everyone understand the principle? And it's applicable to getting married, a woman leaving her house, social media, placing her picture on the website, or other issues as well. Something which is clearly, directly extracted from the nusus. There is no 2019. It's the same ruling as it was back then. But that ruling was never ever based off of an authentic hadith. It was based off of a weak hadith. It was based off of a statement of someone. It was based off of some cultural norm. 2019, that's over 1,000 years ago. It's time to what? You gotta maneuver. It isn't usable anymore. And that's one of the reasons why so many Muslim youth can't get married. Is because their parents are still stuck in the past. And they're still stuck upon an incorrect understanding of Islam. They're not following the authentic teachings, nor they're following the modern day culture. They're stuck in no man's land. They're upon bid'ah and cultural Islam, and worldly, social issues, they're still in the 60s. They're still in the 50s. And who's going to suffer? They're what? Their children. We've said this many times before. If a person wasn't following Islam, unfortunately, but at least they were up to speed with the modern world, you say at least they're getting something. Or someone is totally out-fashioned, totally outdated, but they're sticking to the what? The correct teaching of Islam. We say what? Alhamdulillah. How is the case when they're doing what? Neither this, what? Total loss. And that is the Muslim youth. The 27-year-olds, the 25-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, the women that can't get married. She's 40 years old. She's never been with a man. 45-year-old. She's a virgin. Never had a husband. He's a grown man. He has a beard, hair under his underarms, which he's not shaving every 40 days. He's a grown man. He's not a little boy anymore, and he can't get married because the system has failed him. because that system was not the mandatory system from the what? From the get-go. Everyone understand this? Wallahu alam.